What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Welcome to a Wordle Media presentation of Sox Park.
I'm Ryan. This is an emergency Sox type thing as your Chicago White Sox have won a game. Sox win! Sox win! Sox win!
Unbelievable!
We had to do a special podcast to commemorate the event. So, yeah, we had to jump on here as soon as we possibly could. Actually, that's not true. We're kind of rearranging things a little bit for personal schedules, and just worked out perfectly that your White Sox finally had a dramatic victory yesterday afternoon. We will get to that for sure. This is episode 24 of Sox Type Thing, and I did a little looking into some famous number 24s in White Sox history, and I think there's one obvious one. But did you have any nominations for who we should do this episode in honor of? Number 24.
Number 24 would have to be Joe Crede, right?
Yeah, it's Joe Crede.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to give it to Yasmani Grandal, but
I don't
know if you're ready to go there quite yet.
No, we you know what? We'll bring it back up if he
ever table that
does something.
We get back to 124 episodes.
World Series importance or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not going to happen probably. So.
Wow.
All right.
Well, yeah. So we've got a victory, a White Sox victory to talk about. We have our presence at the same time in the same ballpark at the rate on Friday. You and I both lucked into a secondary ticket market collapse, so we were able to get very cheap scout seats right behind home plate.
Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, that was a great night. Even though the White Sox lost that night, it was still a great time.
It was actually a good game, that one.
Yeah, that was the good game besides Sunday. So yeah, we'll tell you all the stories of that. You went the next day again on Saturday, so I want to hear about that. And there's been lots of things that happened within each of those games. And I think you have a future game this coming week that you want to tell us all about. There's a bit of a story behind that, I believe.
Yeah, there's a funny story behind it, and it kind of completes what is going to be known as the premium seat trilogy.
Oh, all right.
The White Sox premium seat trilogy. We'll see if I can get any wins out of the premium seat trilogy, or it'll be
a big ask at this point. I mean, we got one in a row right now, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But
yes,
I think we can go ahead and jump into the news.
The drought is over. I'm
10
wearing
games.
An AL Central champion shirt because this is the turning point. It is over.
One win.
Book the division.
Changes
one win
everything.
Out of the last 11, they're going all the way.
I love your positivity. This is great.
I say that in jest, but it was so needed.
Oh my God.
And I do have to say, I've been so disgusted by them that I did turn off the game.
Oh, you didn't see the game on the dramatic finish on Sunday.
I did not see it in real time when
right. We might as well just hit stop on this record because you just lost all credibility right there. What are we doing?
I may have. I think a lot of people probably had shut it off. Aaron Bummer came in and bummed his way through an inning and let up 2 more runs to make it 9-5 going into the 9th.
Well, you can feel better because there was no one in the stands either. So I'm not sure how many people actually tuned into the television at that point. So
yeah, well, one Matt Venieri and Sam in our from our
fantasy baseball league.
They stayed.
They stayed. We should go
saw
call them right now. We should get them on the show. We need to interview them about their intestinal fortitude and their true Sox fandom.
Yeah.
Why did they stay? What are they doing?
I think they were just down in the bullpen sports bar. Or whatever
okay.
These days,
plenty of beers still being sold.
Yes, plenty of beers. You're not on the field. You can keep drinking. You're in an enclosed area in the ballpark. Rules do not apply here.
Yeah.
We'll get into that actually. Yeah. I did flip over because I was getting alerts and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I flipped back.
Oh yeah, you have
yeah,
your
yeah.
smartwatch that tells all,
It
you're
does. It
aware of
tells
all
all.
things happening
Yeah,
baseball at all
yeah.
times.
You'll never get anything by me because of this watch.
I was
Right
actually
here.
on my way back from Chicago on the Amtrak and listening to that game, and I actually heard the
Yeah,
the
can you
whole dramatic
describe
ending.
Len Casper's call?
I mean, Len Casper just lost his fucking mind. It did sound like they won the World Series. And the funniest thing was, I was listening to even some of the post game on the radio part of it, and they played his call coming back from a commercial. And he's like, wow, I got pretty excited there. I think he was a bit embarrassed because it was way over the top, but it was obviously a very emotional moment as the improbable comeback punctuation point. After such a long drought, I guess you can forgive the local broadcaster for losing his fucking mind. What a crazy game. I don't know how to describe that ninth inning. I mean, that essentially it was just two Tampa relievers just completely shit the bed, and finally Andrew Vaughn put them out of their misery. But
on what I thought was a pretty damn good pitch that he just went down and got. I mean, it was not like it split the plate. It's like he guessed, he's like, he's going to throw me a slider low and outside and I'm just going to crush it. And
well, the way Sox hitters were teeing off in that ninth, it was almost like everyone was being tipped off somehow or what. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they were, it wasn't, it was a lot of consecutive hits that got them to that point.
Or were the Rays just kind of mailing it in at that point because they just figured we own you, we own everyone? Maybe it was a bit of overconfidence, but I don't know how that translates to multiple pitchers. But
I mean, those guys performed well in the other games, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just worked out. I think the White Sox kept something historic in place that I heard earlier on the broadcast. They've never in the history of the team, this is because it's baseball, in a 6-game series lost all games. Probably in a 12-game series they have. I think they did it to like the Twins one year or something.
Wait, I didn't understand that. They've never lost 6 games to a team in a year?
Right. No,
that can't be true.
Within a 6-game series. That's it. They're not facing the Twins, the Rays again.
Oh, that seems like that could have happened a lot. But...
yeah, it never has, according to the broadcast the other day. However, like in a 12-game series, I'm sure they've lost to a team 6 times. I mean, I know it's happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Just stupid baseball, how you just pluck something out and becomes a stat.
Yes.
The other real, before we get into our incredible evening, good news along the way. This Tuesday, Tim Anderson comes back and Hanser Alberto comes back.
Game changer.
Well, maybe not, but he was doing all
TA
right.
coming back. That's big news. I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, TA comes back Tuesday. And
is he doing a rehab assignment right now?
Yeah, he was over the weekend. And then Garrett Crochet is on schedule for a mid-May return with Liam Hendriks to follow in May.
In May?
Yeah, in May.
Okay, I hadn't heard that either. That's huge news.
Bullpen getting healthy in a hurry. Got to survive the next week, basically. The good news is within that next week, they have to play Kansas City. So one of those 2 teams has to win those games.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. We'll see the unending tie.
But let's travel back in time to Friday evening.
Yes.
For what Smitty, to take credit where credit is due. Yes.
My credit. Why am I taking credit?
# dominate the rate.
Oh yes, I was actually bored. Well, I made up dominate the rate last year, I think, just for the fuck of it. But before the game, I traveled into Chicago. My train gets me there about noon. Grab some Chinese food at my favorite hole in the wall Chinese joint, Silk Road. Please go there, Silk Road. It's right off of LaSalle. I'm afraid they're going to go out of business. So the next time I try to go there, when I'm in town. They won't be around. So best spicy chicken in the world. I was just killing time before could check into my hotel. Fortunately, you got out of work early, so we both headed down to the rate by, I think you were there by 4:45 or so. So
yeah, I was there. Yeah, we were
I was there a little bit
good.
early, so I was taking pictures of all the statues around, trying to learn all the history. So you can check all that out on Twitter. But check out the hashtag dominate the rate if you want to see all that shit and everything else from that evening. But yeah, your brilliant idea, or maybe it was both of ours, was to wait for the secondary ticket market to collapse, as it definitely did. As I think at that point you're on a 8-game losing streak. So we were able to procure reasonably priced scout seats, which I had heard of scout seats before, but I had never dreamed that I would actually sit there, because they are the ones you see on television right behind home plate, with access to the most fancy restaurant, lounge, buffet, bar you can imagine, right in the bowels of behind home plate and in guaranteed rate. Very nice experience. It was a little chilly, but it wasn't. It was, I guess, by the end. But the key was in-seat service, beverage service. I got a Polish width that I was a little bit disappointed in. It's not quite the same as from the portable there over on the third base side, but still, it was given to me. It was part of our package deal, and someone brought it to me instead of having to go get it, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, it was a premium experience by far. Our seats were incredible. Our seats weren't quite as incredible as we thought. We sat in the apparently there's 2 sections to the scout seats, and we didn't realize that. So you sat in row 5?
Yeah, we were row 5. We were on TV in the wrong seats, but
yeah, and then we had to move
right.
Yeah, a very polite father carrying his baby told us we were in the wrong seats, so we had to move over a couple just across the aisle. But we were not on television, so your Sox type thing hat that you're wearing right now could not get on TV.
Boo.
But yeah, I've been fairly close at other games at Wrigley. Nothing quite like that, and certainly no all-inclusive experience. So that was a whole new thing for me. We definitely partook our fair share of frosty beverages and snacks and food. So it was pretty awesome, and happened to be the best game that the White Sox had played, or at least the most competitive game I think they'd played all week. So
yeah, exactly.
3-2 final with unfortunately for you, Isaac Paredes. I guess that's unfortunately for me too, as he should be a Detroit Tiger right now if Avila hadn't traded him away. But what can you do? Hit the game-winning home run in the 9th. I think you were in the bathroom, were you? Or were you going to get another beer? Or you missed? I don't think you saw that. Or maybe I'm misremembering my drunken haze. But
I think I was walking up as it happened.
I think you heard it on the radio, like in the bathroom. I think that's what you told me. But
the grave man came in, and just like he did yesterday. He did that yesterday too. Came in and let up a home run.
Yeah, that's what he's good for these days. But I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about the? I mean, it's your game. Your boys.
No, you were. I was letting you go, man.
Right.
Yeah. So we played the just. I don't know how much we should give away on this, but when we first looked at the tickets, they were, in the 200 range, and in a matter of 3 days.
Dollars.
They had plummeted to $135 before service charges. So.
Yeah. And we were joking. I've actually, disgusting as it sounds, I've actually paid almost that much for bleacher seats at Wrigley before for like a St. Louis series or something. So I mean, that's an outrage. It's still not like a minimal amount, but for the value, that was ridiculous. Like what was all included. So I feel like we ripped them off. I ripped off the White Sox.
Yeah,
I feel good about that.
It was really funny. We walk in, and there's like 4 people standing there, and Smitty and I are like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, they had 4 greeters, like very well dressed. Greeters, I guess, and they're all just like waiting for us. But
welcome to the stadium club, or to the scout seats. How many in your party today?
Yeah, I'm just dressed as skateboarding slob as I normally am, and I'm like, I'm underdressed. Like this is too nice. What's going on here? But
And then
yeah.
he promptly said 2 and bring us beers every 15 minutes.
Yeah, the wait staff was awesome. They were really, really fun and kind and generous and good with their service. So that was great.
But the start of the game, I think we can agree, and we were in prime seats for the start of this game. Was very strange.
Yeah.
There was like a Rosarena stole second and cut his head open on the helmet, bouncing back into his forehead. So like then the game was delayed.
Got to be careful with that shit.
He got back out there.
You should wear helmet straps.
They actually, seriously.
That happens to Akil Baddoo all the time from the Tigers. Like he's kind of famous for his helmet falling off every time he runs, no matter what the distance is. It will come off. So he could use the strap.
Exactly.
How cool would that be?
Keep that on. Or get a tighter helmet. I don't know.
I didn't realize he cut him. Like, Rosarena actually cut him. There's a lot of things I didn't really realize because I don't have the best vision, and of course, you're at the game, so I get a lot better idea of what's really happening when I have the radio or the television telling me what the fuck's going on. But see, I was unaware of that. I was also confused by the next dramatic event I think you were about to get to.
Yeah, and then there's like two things. There's two things that happen. First, then the next thing that occurs is we're in between innings and the clock is running out for the in between inning clock, and the Rays are missing 2 of their outfielders, one being a Rosarena.
Yeah.
So
He's getting stitched up.
Grafal comes out and is like, is that a ball for my player, my first batter? I mean, what's the rule here? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And nothing comes of it. So fine, whatever. And then Lewis Robert, a couple batters later, gets drilled in the back. Not really aware of any sort of gripe. I'm like I re-looked at because we were asking each other, we weren't sure what's going on. There's really nothing from the night before.
Or the previous series, maybe, but
and the warnings were issued, which
that's what set Grafal off.
Grafal gets set off because the Sox got issued a warning, not necessarily that the Sox are going to retaliate, but the fact that if I think he was more concerned, Lucas Giolito up until that game had hit a batter in every one of his outings. And I think he was just like, I think it is kind of BS when the first guy gets hit and they issue warnings right away.
Well, I think everyone on the opposing team like hates that rule or hates when that happens because it is bullshit. It's tough for the umpires though. Like when if they think there is something weird going on, and I think there had to be some. I don't think that it just came out of nowhere that they just wanted to start issue warnings. People get hit all the time, and there are automatic warnings. So there must have been a little more to it, but still, it is unfair to the opposing team. Like, well, you just hit our guy, and now we get penalized if we make a mistake now. So
yeah,
that makes much more sense because I was so confused at the time, like what was going on. Why Pedro Grafal was absolutely losing his shit to the point where he was ejected from the ball game.
And the guy, so that was his second night in a row getting ejected.
Was it second? Okay.
Yeah, so he had got ejected the night before by the same umpire.
Really? That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if we got like Ozzie Guillen, was it Ozzie Guillen and Hunter Wendelstaff or something? Or Joe West had some sort of run in.
Yeah, there's always more context than we're ever aware of.
Yeah.
And we rarely get the full insight into what those personal beefs are, but that's interesting.
But long story short, it was a really fun evening. We lived like kings.
Yes.
I would recommend if you can, get some crazy deal.
You use StubHub, right?
Yeah, I use StubHub. Yeah. I use StubHub for the next night too. I mean, these tickets are insane. So,
yeah, I would recommend StubHub for sure because that was the deal of a lifetime.
But long story short, we couldn't bring home the win, and the Sox lost 3-2.
We did hear briefly after Isak Paredes' home run in the 9th, the "sell the team" chant.
Yes, we did.
Down the first base line, a little bit behind us, up and behind us. It was not nearly as loud as it would become the next evening, and I'm loving to hear your firsthand account, because you were at not only the Friday game with me, you were there on Saturday as well. Another eventful, let's say, game. Unless you had more to talk about with Friday.
No.
Move you along.
No, move me along. So,
All right.
so, Robin and I had wanted to get the 83 batter jerseys, hockey jerseys they were giving away.
So that's why you mentioned that. I wasn't sure you were 100% serious about that, but
Yeah.
that's your main motivation, is get
That-
the
well,
giveaway.
I love going to the Sox game. And
Well, it couldn't be because they're so great. So
no, I just love being in a baseball park.
Yeah.
And, so
this would be your 4th or 5th game. How many games have you been to already?
that was Saturday night was the 4th game.
Okay.
So
That's love, man.
I go back on the StubHub, and what is there? $100 tickets for the guaranteed rate club, which is on the 200 level.
Okay.
Behind home plate.
So just above where we were at then.
Right.
And you're in the club then.
Yeah, and it's open air, but there's a roof too. You've got cover over you, so if it was gonna rain, because originally there was some rain in the forecast during that evening game, you're covered. You're not gonna get wet. All inclusive buffet again.
Damn.
All inclusive booze and seat service.
Wow.
I will say this: the food selection at the club is more of a ballpark feel.
Okay.
So I feel like you, from a food standpoint, would have and I did too. I enjoyed the food up there more so than like Smitty and I looked at the buffet and we're like, we don't come to a ball game to eat like this.
Yeah, I don't need carved meats before a game or during a game.
It was like leg of lamb down at the scout seats. I'm like, holy shit, there's leg of lamb. I kind of want it, but I kind of don't want it.
Yeah, it's kind of that part was definitely wasted on us, or at least me for sure, because I go to a ball game. I'm not a foodie by any means, but beyond that, at a ball game, I want a Polish sausage, especially when I'm on the south side, or a hot dog or something. I'm not too picky. So
yeah, they
the buffet was a little bit lost on me. So yeah, that's interesting about the what they call the guaranteed rate club.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was right back at it.
Wined and dined.
Down in light beers again, like someone was paying me for it. But
and you got your hockey jersey.
I even got a Buffalo, even got some Buffalo Trace up there too. So it was
wow.
Yeah, it was a winning night. Well, it was a winning night in regards to that.
Oh boy.
Now let's talk about what I thought was probably the only time this had happened in history, but I was later informed it was not. But we'll get to that. So we're enjoying the game quite a lot. Lynn seems to have taken the call out from Steve Stone, had a couple extra salads that week, and was pitching like a beast. The beast.
In fact, I thought we were going to have our first no of the week that we could use this year, but alas, that went awry.
Not only did it go awry, what was it? The train sort of off the rails. The train completely crashed in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, much. I pointed this out in the last episode that Kenny Williams' analogy of a train coming off the rails a bit just doesn't work. The train's either on the rails or it's a fucking train wreck. So
right, exactly.
That seems to be how Saturday's game actually went.
Yeah, we went from a no-hit 10 strikeout effort through 6 to a 10-run top of the 7th.
Jesus.
And I just couldn't believe it. Well, I could, but I couldn't. I couldn't believe that no one in the bullpen, no one could get us off the field.
Yeah.
And not just the bullpen. Freaking like Ryan Hazley muffed the ball, just like
Adam
dropped
Hazley?
it. Adam
The
Hazley, I'm sorry.
yeah, I forget his name. But
Yeah, drops the ball like a perfect, easily hit ball to him, just drops it.
yikes.
Like it was just an inning to forget.
It started with Lance Lynn coming off the rails, though, didn't it? I mean, I
Well,
saw he had 4 earned runs charged to him. So,
yeah, I mean, one was a solo shot, but
okay,
then
he must have loaded the bases somehow, and then the relievers couldn't get anybody out. I didn't see the game.
I thought he had 3 earned runs charged to him, but whatever.
I looked up the box score and it said
Yeah.
4. Maybe that was incorrect, but
yeah. So
I was trying to piece together how it fell
but
apart.
all those 3 other runs, he wasn't pitching at the time.
Well, he put him on base. So
yeah, he put him on base, but that goes back to the White Sox relievers and having a really high inherited runners.
Well, that too, but what I was thinking is that continues Steve Stone's point potentially that him being out of shape, Lance Lynn being a bit out of shape, maybe he ran out of gas.
Yeah, true.
Very quickly, all of a sudden, and wasn't able to recover. But again, that there's more to that story too. You told me there was an apology. I missed that from Steve Stone to Lance Lynn.
He went down and apologized, saying
he kind of had to. I'd be surprised if he didn't actually, but
no, he admitted the comments came out crass when he was just trying to be funny.
It was not necessary by any means. It was hilarious.
Trying to be funny, and we all laughed.
Yeah, I'm glad he did it, but
yeah, he wasn't trying to be a dick, even though he definitely sounded like he was being a dick.
I don't think he has to try hard to be a dick.
He's a pretty arrogant person.
That's why we love him.
That wasn't the only weird part of the night, and I think it's even weirder post game. But the first possible hit of the game, Luis Robert was back in the leadoff spot, and he hits a bit of a slow grounder to third, and is going full speed at first, and then sort of pulls up in the end. And if he had just run through the base, it would have been a leadoff single.
Now, I heard a chorus of boos that have been replayed over and over again since that.
There is a chorus of boos.
I wanted to ask you, maybe this is my asshole question for the week. Were you one of those people booing Luis Robert Jr. at that moment?
I did not boo him at that moment, but I did. I believe I uttered the words, "What the fuck?"
Because I have seen you get emotional at these ball games before. In fact, we need to back up to Friday when you were upset with a call that I think it was didn't Ray's pitcher hit somebody else later in the game, and there was no ejection. So you actually went down the stairs to the fence right behind home plate and started yelling. I don't think you were swearing necessarily. I couldn't hear what you were saying because it was a bit away, but I found that amusing that you felt the need to run down there to
I just did not express
your opinion.
I did not like that ump.
No, you did not. So I didn't know if those emotions got the best of you once again, and you were participating in the booing of
I did
Luis
not.
Robert Jr.
I did not overreact. I don't know if it's necessarily an overreaction because it was obvious that he for some reason just pulled up. But then I got nervous that, of course, he was injured.
Yeah,
but then he comes back out and he plays the next inning in the field.
Yeah,
the top of the second, but then is removed for the game for his next at bat and replaced by Oscar Colas. The report and everyone he got pulled for loafing it, and he was pulled for loafing it. But then the story adds you get some complexity in the post game that Luis Robert's hamstring was sore. This is his story. That his hamstring was sore, and he didn't tell the coaches because he wanted to play in the game. And he thought he should reserve. It's a very complex answer. And something along the lines of I was going to make sure I was, able to go more fuller speed towards the end of the game and try to reserve myself during the first half of the game. And I let only.
I mean, this just sounds like a kid
Eloy,
getting caught in a lie and digging deeper
exactly.
and deeper and deeper.
Exactly. He said something along the lines of only Eloy. He only said something to Eloy and someone else, and I never
Yeah, it
heard
was
anyone.
Eloy and Elvis Andrews.
Elvis Andrews,
Elvis Andrews is supposed to be your veteran leader on the team now. Who, if he had known about that, I don't know how he couldn't have gone himself over to your manager and told him what was going on. But
yes, it seemed that
these are just
he was embarrassed, and instead of just being like, "Yeah, I screwed up,"
yeah.
maybe his hamstring, maybe it is a little sore or something. I don't know. I mean, would that be surprising? Fuck
That
no.
well, that's the other part. That's not surprising. That wouldn't be surprising at all. So it's a very plausible lie, but he just did a poor job of telling it.
Yeah.
Part of that whole exchange was he forgot who your bench coach was. He was asking the interpreter who Charlie Montoya was. Like his name completely escaped his mind. Like that just brought me to remember the Chuck Garfine's post game show, which I've actually sampled. That's going to be at the beginning of this show. What are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here?
I mean,
his name is Charlie Montoya.
You may have heard of him. He was a manager.
I mean, Chuck, I've riffed on Chuck a lot over the years with that. He was truly a fan, an exasperated fan. He was very legitimately frustrated. He expressed that so perfectly. He was pounding on the desk at one point. He was like, I think they came back from commercial and he was standing next to the desk. He couldn't even sit in his chair. So it's just a frustrating but brilliantly covered moment. He could barely continue the segment. Fortunately, Bacon picked up for him because I think he realized he was gonna start swearing or something. Bacon had to say something to make sure Garfine didn't have a complete meltdown. But yeah, that's a segment to check out if you can find that on YouTube or on Twitter. But it's just more symptomatic of nobody really knows what happened. It's just the confusion between injury and continuation of they were told not to try hard at one point, at many points last year, for fear of injury. That was a huge story. So you kind of can't blame Robert if that's what he was thinking. I can only give it 75, 80% because they want me to stay healthy and I haven't been healthy. So it's just a continuation, it feels like, of the same confusing mixed messaging, or at least the fans and the media are not allowed to have all the information. There's there's always some kind of confusion with these issues with the White Sox, and it doesn't seem a whole lot different with Grifol, even though we were told he's one of his biggest characteristics that got him the job is he's such an excellent communicator. And obviously his first language is Spanish. So you'd think he would have a very open line of communication with everyone on the team. And it doesn't seem to have been the case, at least in this specific example.
Well, he flat out asked him on the bench if he was okay after he didn't finish running out, and Louis Robert told him he was fine.
Yeah,
so
that's a problem.
What I will tell you though is I respect Pedro Grifol for pulling him.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, he had to. I mean,
but that's like unheard. Like, no way. Fuckstick LaRussa would have done that last year. There's no way.
He was trying to be their buddy. That's what he told everybody as he started his second Sox regime. He was not going to be the authoritarian that he had always been, and that was probably his biggest mistake.
And this kind of what you were touching on about sort of unlearning the bad habits of last year goes back to what you and I were talking about at the game, that how Przinsky was interviewing Lance Lynn and he was expressing his concern. He's like, I'm an ex-White Sox. Like, what's going on over there? He's like, man, like, you got guys trying to get out of some really bad habits of
like being deprogrammed or something.
Yeah, exactly.
From the previous 2 years experience.
That's exactly what he didn't say deprogrammed, but you're 100% accurate. That's that's probably a more eloquent way to put it, or more accurate way to even put it. Like, it's like Robert thinking and this isn't an excuse for them because that's not what they're teaching there right now. So, these are adults, but whatever.
I could just see how they could have how Robert could possibly be confused by the messaging over the last couple of years, but at the same time, it feels like there's a little bit of childishness, and kind of got caught in the lie. So it's just ambiguous. Hard to know what the real truth is, but I think we pieced most of it together. But
yeah,
just another strange chapter.
And he, yeah. So I'm sure he'll be starting tomorrow night. So I don't think we have anything to worry about.
Okay.
From an injury standpoint.
Yeah. Hopefully that hamstring holds together.
But looking to the future, I will be, because I'm a glutton for punishment. Within 1 week, within a little less than a week, I will be going to my third White Sox game on Wednesday night. But
with the worst amongst the worst weeks in White Sox history, you've decided to go to not 1, not 2, but 3 games. So
right, and it's against the Twins, so I'm definitely hoping for a win. But this story on why I'm going to this game is you got to tell this story. Funny. So I don't know. For those of you who are regular listeners, Smitty was sort of shaming me on the air to go to the White Sox game, which is the only victory I did see that year. He's like, "You should go to the game. You live there. Go get tickets."
Oh, a couple weeks ago.
Saturday, on that when we did the show on a Saturday, and
yeah, it was a beautiful Saturday a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and so
why wouldn't you?
Finally made the decision to go, and my wonderful girlfriend Robin was on there buying, looking at the tickets to buy, and she's like, I found tickets in the Miller Lite Landing. And I'm like, really? Because I'm like looking on my phone for stuff and I'm not seeing it because we're like dual looking to see what the best deal is. And
that's how you got to attack a problem right there.
And the secondary market for that game was not as favorable as it was for us because they hadn't gotten to 8 games.
You got to wait till they get to 8 losses.
Once they get around 8, it's a free for all. She's like, "Do you want to sit there?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I totally love to sit there." You get like, and these were just through the White Sox. You get the tickets like, I don't know, like $75, but then you get a $20 food concession credit.
Now that's the whole area in right field above the bullpen bar.
Right.
They've changed that significantly since I went there last, which was probably 10 years ago. No, I've been in the bullpen bar, but not in that landing area. Yeah, it seems like there's like tabletops and it's not like regular seats like it used to be.
Well, and it's also like you can't, remember how we used to be able to go early and then just go sit there? Yeah. Everything's a paid ticket.
Okay.
In the whole section. So long story short, she buys the tickets and we have like the shared White Sox ticket account. And I'm like, "Oh, the tickets just got to my phone." And I'm like, you just bought tickets for Wednesday, May 3rd. He's like, "How the fuck did I do that?"
What? I mean, there's many possible explanations, but it's too funny not to tell on this podcast, I guess. But
so accidentally, I'm completing what I'm calling the premium seat trilogy at the rate, because we will be in the Miller Lite Landing seats right in the front row on the fence there.
Nice.
Like where we first had summer shandies that time.
Okay, I've been in those seats. Yeah, those are tremendous. You're basically on the field with that chain link fence is the only thing separating you from the action.
Yeah, and they're really nice, big, fat, cushiony seats again. So I think after this game, it's going to be official. I will never sit in a normal section again at that ballpark.
Cushioned at all times.
I know. I'm gonna have to go buy a seat cushion the day I go to the game and I'm in a regular seat.
Hard plastic chairs. What the fuck is this?
Who has time for this? So
I think that is so tremendous that you're accidentally going to a cold Wednesday night game against the Twins, but who knows? You've seen signs of turning it around. Maybe you'll be on it'd be a 2-game winning streak possibly if you win tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and then be on the way to maybe a 3-game win streak on Wednesday.
I think if I'm not mistaken, let's see if this is officially posted yet. I think it's oh no, it's Michael Kopech. I thought it was Dylan Cease.
Oh,
No, that's Kopech's tomorrow. So it is.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's Cease on Wednesday?
Cease on Wednesday.
See, you just dropped right in. Yeah, that's serendipity. You're going to a great game, great starter. You didn't even mean to do it.
No, I mean, it's all coming up Pete this week.
Except for the 2 losses
except for
that
the
you had to
wins.
witness.
Except for wins. But I'm living like a king in the park.
Yeah, you're enjoying yourself. I mean, you love baseball. This is great.
Do.
This is great. This is all excellent content for this podcast. This emergency episode number 24 of Sox Type Thing. So keep doing whatever you're doing. It's working out great for us. So
yeah. The one good news is the weather's not going to be horrible, kind of like your Thursday night game. It's going to be like at least like upper 50s, low 60s during the day.
Nice.
I'm sure down there, much like the windshield that was created in the scout seats, we forgot to mention that. Smitty pointed out that because we were in the scout seats, they somehow created an invisible shield because there was literally not one breeze in the entire section all night. It was bizarre.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was a chilly night, but it was fine for us because we didn't get any wind. I also think it held in the Wi-Fi really well because we had no issues with connectivity either. So
yeah, apparently the router to that place is right in the
right under our cushy seats.
Bring me another beer.
Well, right. Unless you have anything else, I think we can wrap up this emergency edition of Sox Type Thing. It was needed after that tremendous dramatic victory on Sunday. So we'll be recording In the Hole, our flagship podcast covering the other 4 teams we talk about, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of White Sox to talk about in that probably early next week as our schedules are getting a little bit complicated. You're going to games. I'm going to a Tigers game on Thursday. Just found out that Justin Verlander is actually coming back from the IL to pitch for the Mets just in time for me to sit there and watch him Thursday afternoon. And the weather's getting a little bit better. I think it's going to be 60. It's supposed to be cloudy, but 60. It's during the day too, so that should be all right.
Yeah, it should be much better.
Nobody cares about my Tigers in this podcast, but I just want to throw that in there. Got a lot of baseball coming up. It's kind of fucking with the podcast now. So, but what can you do? You got to put the priorities in the right place.
Got to go to accidental games sometimes.
In the meantime, you can catch us on social media. Pete's at Sox Type Thing on Twitter. I am at Major League A-Holes. You can find us on the web at majorleagueaholes.com and soxtypething.com. Our YouTube page is at Major League A-Holes. And you can find this and all of our podcasts anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I think you can declare...
this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.